everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a fun fact-filled video all about fast races here in the UK, as many of us are now starting to set our sights on 2024 and the races we want to do, the PBs we want to achieve, 5k, 10k, half marathon, marathon, whatever goals that you might have. It's really good to find a fast race to get them in, so that's what this video is all about. This is a little UK edition. If a lot of people like this type of video, then we will do more of a worldwide or a Europe one and a worldwide one, so let us know down in the comments if you like this type of thing. Before we get stuck into the main video, I just want to go through a few little things that I always look at when I'm trying to find the best races for me to do for the following year. So starting out, it's definitely got to be flat, the minimum amount of elevation possible, and also not many twists and turns, ideally on tarmac. We don't want things on cobblestones, a little bit of trail section halfway through, not gonna be good. Tarmac will be best. Well established and a reputable race organizer. We don't want the race organizer to go under just before the race, as has happened in a few races here in the UK this year. Some races can be quite susceptible to wind, so some coastal races like Edinburgh or Brighton or something like Dorney Lake is quite an exposed race venue here in the UK. Some larger events might well have pace groups, so check that out on the website. You can stick in with the 40-minute 10k runners or the 45-minute paces and get your time. And then what sort of balance do you want for big crowd support? How much does that motivate you? Or are you okay with just a very fast flat course, maybe just going round an athletics track with nobody there? So weigh those two things up and see how important they are for you. Right, let's get stuck into first, I think we're doing the 5Ks. A 5k is a bit of an odd distance because parkrun is so dominant here in the UK. We'll come on to that in a minute. But for people looking for the fastest sort of 5k options, the best one is here in London, in Battersea Park. There's two main race organisers that go in there, Run Through and Sir Chimnoy. They're always holding races throughout the year, so check out their websites. Very, very flat, very fast through the park there. And there's also the PUL 5k, but you've got to be a sub 15:45 runner to even qualify for that. And they do also have some events in Barrowford further up north as well. Probably the fastest 5k event anywhere in the UK is in Northern Ireland, but you've got to be sub 16 to qualify for this. 130 runners broke 15 minutes there last year. I'm going to, fingers crossed, try and qualify for that early next year to maybe do it the year after. It's really my dream to always run there, and as my fitness is now improving quite well, I'll hopefully be there very soon. Run Through do also put on events all over the country as well, so definitely check out their website for some of the absolute best places to try and run a fast 5k. And then finally, the Mid Cheshire 5k, which I think had the fastest 5k times for men and women last year. Just looking here, 13:45 for the men, 15:38 for the ladies as well. So a super quick course in the heart of Cheshire, so check that one out. Right, and as I said, we'll move on to parkruns. Now, there's a fantastic website out there, we'll link to it down below. Fellow YouTuber Tim has put together this list every year of the fastest to the slowest parkruns. We've got a new one on top this year, Pegwell Bay, and then Bromley, Poole, Hull, and MUSA Cookstown. I haven't heard of that one, but I'm gonna look it up after this video. So definitely check out where the fastest ones are in your part of the country, then you can check them out and run a super quick 5k. Right, moving on to the 10k, which I think is the hardest road racing distance you can get out there. So starting out, we've got the Telford 10k. There were 18 people that went sub 30 last year. There are three different waves here. We've got an elite wave, there's got a sub-elite wave, then a wave open to the masses. You've got to have qualifying times for the first two. Masses wave, anyone can come in and benefit from this super fast course. Moving on, we're heading a little bit further south in the UK to the Bourton 10k. Bourton on the Water, a picturesque picture postcard part of the UK in the Cotswolds here. Beautiful surroundings. Entries do sell out incredibly quickly for this one, and it always attracts that really high caliber of athletes. I think you do 2 laps of the main town and then do a big long out and back. Very, very fast. Check out Forrester Dean Runner's YouTube channel. He's got a few videos on this that were from where he has done this race over the last few years. We're heading back up north to Leeds for the Leeds Abbey Dash 10k. It's a huge charity event put on by Age UK, a very, very fast and flat course through the Leeds city centre. There are some small undulations through the route here, but if you run sensibly and don't go off too fast, you can definitely overtake a lot of people in the second half, that downhill hill back into the town centre. Definitely a huge PB potential course here. And then finally the Manchester 10K. Did this one a few years ago, ran 32:45 I think from memory. Really fantastic race put on by a great run. It does start a little bit later in the day, so if you're not a fan of a late morning or a lunchtime sort of time start, this might be one to pass on. But I love that. That's when I really like to do my training. It goes off after the half marathon that starts in the morning. There's really fantastic support out there because you've got the half marathon crowd sort of stick around to support the 10K runners as well. It's super flat, super fast, and it's just a fun day out for the whole family. Definitely check that one out. Hopefully be back there racing again soon. Right, moving on to half marathons. I do personally love this distance. So we're going to start out chatting about Reading. There's a really deep field here. Most people use this race as like a tune-up race for their spring marathons that are coming up. There are a few hills along the way, but nothing to get worried about. Now moving on, we have got a fantastic PB potential course here in the Cardiff Half. This is part of the Super Half series, along with Berlin, Valencia, Prague, Lisbon, and Copenhagen as well. And I hopefully do a few of these next year, so stay tuned for that. There's a really big elite field in this race. They attract some very high caliber athletes. It's the second biggest race here in the UK as well. After, of course, the biggest half marathon anywhere in the world, the Great North Run. I ran this a few years ago, ran 69:04 or something. Just a really good race. Absolutely loved it to bits. 60,000 people and that sort of northeast spirit. And you can really sort of feel that energy from the crowd support as you go round. And running across the Tyne Bridge at the start, it's a memory that will stick with me for a very long time. This is technically a net downhill course as well, but most of that is in the first couple of Ks. Very, very steep downhill to start, and then it's a pretty flat course with a really nasty hill at the end, which you will hate. But after that, down onto the beach and a brilliant run into the finish. The fastest British person to ever run a half marathon was Mo Farah, which he did here, and he did here many times. It's really a race that every person should try and do at least once in their life. Get in the ballot, keep trying to get in until you do, and you will not regret it. Just fantastic race. Over the water to Northern Ireland and the Antrim Half Marathon. It's one of those races I hadn't really heard of. It's quite a new race, but it really surprised me with just how utterly friendly and amazing the crowd support was out there. The people we bumped into, just such a beautiful part of the world. An interesting one to make the list is the Bath Half, because Bath is one of the hideous cities anywhere in the UK, but have this 2-lap course around the town centre that is a very flat and fast course as well. Another good warm-up race if you've got a spring marathon coming up. And then finally for the half marathon section, a couple of races in London, the London Landmarks Half and the Big Half as well. I love the Big Half. The finish is just outside my flat out there, so we always try and run this one every year. London Landmarks, very much central London, and then the Big Half takes in Canary Wharf and Greenwich, but both definitely PB potential races, so check those ones out. Right, let's move on to the marathons. Starting out back in Wales, we've got the Newport Marathon. Now they claim that 70% of people that run this run a PB. Very fast, very flat course, taking in some beautiful parts of South Wales as well, all along the coastline. Moving back up to Scotland, the Edinburgh Marathon. It starts out in the centre of Edinburgh, run all the way down to the coast, and then along, out and back along the coastline. Weather can certainly play a part with this race. If you get a headwind heading out along that coastline, it is going to be a long day out there. First time I ever ran an official sub-3 with a 2:55. So I've got very fond memories of Edinburgh Marathon. As long as the weather's good, it's definitely a fast PB potential course. Manchester Marathon probably is, I would say, the fastest marathon course anywhere in the UK. I've run it a couple of times, ran 2:37 there a few years ago. The course has changed a little bit since I did it. It's now a little bit more in the town centre, but still very fast, very flat. Moving out of Manchester over towards the Welsh border for a marathon that is mostly in England, but also is a little bit in Wales as well, for the Chester Marathon. You might have seen the video where Sarah went to get her London Good for Age time last year, which she did. Again, very fast, very flat course. My overriding memory of this is just how well organised it is. Starting out the race course, heading out into the countryside, can be a little bit quiet, but super fast, super flat. And then this nightmare of a hill at the end, which I had to cycle up, and that was pretty steep. But apart from that, just that one nasty hill, definite PB potential here. There's a lot of age groupers that go and run here in their England singlets as well. So there's just such a high caliber of athlete that will be at this event. Right, moving towards Oxfordshire and the Abingdon Marathon. Again, a very traditional club runner type race. race, but a very fast, flat course. It is a bit of an odd one because it's mainly on roads that are not closed. So there's potential to be cars and cyclists and all sorts of people. It sounds crazy, but as someone that's run it a couple of times, it's really not too bad. They're fantastic marshalling out there. There is a 5-hour cutoff here, so it's not going to be for everybody, but it's a lovely route through the town centre and then out into the countryside a little bit. Before you know it, you'll be finishing on the track as you pause your watch and realise you've got that PB. Right, a couple more to go. Just quickly, the Yorkshire Marathon. Now, I've never done this. Great to know down in the comments if you have done this, but people always say just how great and fat, flat and fast that it is. But yeah, I just don't know that much about it, but I did want to include it on the list, so maybe go and do a little bit of research about that. And then finally, the greatest race of them all, the London Marathon. Now, yes, this is not the most traditional fast course in the world, but this X factor that this race has is the crowd support out there is the best of any race anywhere in the world. Yes, that's my opinion. I may be a little bit biased, been privileged enough to run this race so many times. It runs through all the streets where we live here in London, and I just absolutely love it. It's always my favourite day of running of the year. We'll actually be at the expo for all the days this year because we'll be exhibiting with all of our fantastic running hats, which you can check out at benparks.com. So yeah, we'll have some shakeout runs. You can come and say hello and check out our whole range of stuff. The first time we're ever going to be selling it direct to public, so we can't wait to show you that. And I'll also be running the London Marathon myself, and Sarah will be, so we can't wait to see you out there. The course is a little bit undulating. It's quite a big downhill for the first sort of 5k, and then yes, it's gently undulating all the way. No particular hills of any significance to get worried or anything to think about. It's all about the crowd support. It's raising billions of pounds for charity out there as well, and taking in some of the most awesome sights of London. Running over Tower Bridge, just amazing, through Canary Wharf, down along the Mall, Big Ben, Houses of Parliament, and then outside Buckingham Palace for the finish. Just absolutely fantastic day out there. It's the type of thing that everyone should try and do once. Sadly for people not from the UK, it's really a difficult race to try and get into. I really wish they would make it a little bit easier. But that aside, if you have got an entry, you're going to have the most amazing experience out there. And then finally, as I've said a few times, Run Through do put on some marathons as well on like motor racing circuits or disused airfields and things like that. They are really quite boring races to do, but if you're looking for that pure PB potential, you don't mind just doing loops and loops and round, then you are definitely going to get that sort of thing at their sort of races, so check those out. Let me know where you're going to be racing next year. What races have I missed out? What are your favourites? Where are you going to be getting your PBs, your best for your age category as well? Let us know down in the comments. It'd be great to catch up. I'll be releasing all of my 2024 plans early next year as well. Hopefully be seeing loads of you guys out there for shakeout runs and races. Right, that's it guys. Keep on working hard, keep on getting done. We'll see you very soon in the next one.